Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we do have what is potentially one of the best at-home ASICs here that's currently available now, and the current best available ETH ASIC, right? So we're going to be talking about Bombax Miner's EZ100-C. If you guys remember, we did talk about the EZ100 a few months ago. They now did release a home version of that. It's extremely efficient. It's a direct competitor to the Jasminer, the X16Q, that actually outperforms it pretty significantly, right? So we're going to talk about the specs, we'll look at the price, we'll look at profitability, we're going to see how it stacks up to the competition, all right? That sounds good, guys. Stay tuned. Let's get to this thing. So, if you guys remember, we did actually cover the OG EZ100 at the time. We didn't really have a name of the manufacturer. Now we do. It is Bombax Mining, or Bombax Miners. And if you guys remember, again, this was early March when this one came out, and the price was pretty outrageous, right? That's what kind of was like, impressive stats though, right? But the price is what, definitely not. So at that time, it was about 25K. Currently, right now, from the resellers, it's anywhere from 15 to 17K. Okay, so it is much better priced, but realistically still really high up there, especially considering that announcement that Jasminer did, which is essentially they did it just to cock block these guys, right? They just literally put out one quick announcement, didn't give us any further info, and now we kind of see why they unveiled both models, right? One of them to block these guys, and the other one to block now this new miner we now know about, which is the EZ100-C, right? So when we had done that video on the EZ100, it's for the big boy. We do have more specs of it now. They do have a website. There are pictures of it. But the one that interests me more is this EZ100-C. Okay, so we'll go over the specs real quick. 3200 mega hash, 570 watts. Thing is a beast. Okay. Looks very, very similar though to the Jasminer. They did it specifically. It looks like a super generic version of it. Hopefully this is just like an early prototype. They did at least something to spruce it up. Throw some of these stupid little flower stickers on it. Something, right? It looks super generic, but it is a direct competitor. They are directly marketing it as a home miner. Doesn't really specify whether it's 240 or 110. But the fact that they're advertising it in the sense, it's kind of saying that. Also, just looking through the pictures, I didn't see a Wi-Fi antenna, so most likely will be Ethernet only, which not that big of a deal, but it may be for some. Because again, if you're using it as a home miner, you do have that versatility of being able to throw it in a spare bedroom or just anywhere around the house, right? So crazy specs. They didn't give us a ton of info. Some of the stuff is assumptions. If I get any info, I will put it up in the comments. I will make a pin post or something. They didn't give us the amount of RAM this unit has. If we go based off of the EZ100, it's probably going to be about the 5.18 gigs, right? So if you go on the DAG size calculator, depending on what you're interested in mining, for example, if I were to get one, my biggest interest would be ETC and Octa. Realistically, it would be Octa. But you can see here, and you can take a look to see how long you have to mine with that amount of RAM. If it is indeed 5, we don't know if it's 5 or 8. I'm going to go with the 5. Again, if you are interested in purchasing, make sure you reach out to the manufacturer. Did email, I haven't gotten anything back yet. But again, if I do find out, or if any of you guys know, if any of you guys did look into it already, and you can confirm, please let us know in the comments, all right? So again, specs are extremely good. Let's compare it now to a few of these things. Well, let's look at price first, right? So price, they have it listed at $5,500, but a lot of the vendors and resellers already have it significantly cheaper. So if you are interested, again, reach out to your favorite reseller, your favorite store. As we go through some of these stores, Cool Dragon, for example, has it at about $4,400, and that's what a lot of the online, the WhatsApp, Telegram vendors have it around. Also from Miner Bros, if you want a safer bet, if you're not familiar with that, if you want to trust the store, they do have it $4,700, right? And again, this includes everything. This is shipped to your door, which is not a bad price. Okay, so about $4,700. Let's look at profitability. And if we put it on ETC, which again, I'm putting it on these just because these are my interest, at a 10 cent electric, right? So 3200 mega hash, so 3.2 gigahash, 570 watts. This is the key thing with these things. Like, that's what's so appealing between like this guy and the Jasminer, is just that extreme efficiency, right? Especially right now during these times where profitability kind of sucks. It's a huge standout because it's just gonna be profitable for a much longer period of time, right? Like even right now with the price action we have, you would bring in about $8.34 in revenue, and it only costs about $1.37 to run. This is where it's extremely beneficial, just because again, it's gonna be profitable for a much longer period of time, right? So your daily profit on ETC is about $7. My interest would lie more in Octa. So Octa currently, it's give or take about the same level, but realistically, I mean, that's just what I would be interested in. So again, about $8.38 in revenue and $1.37 to run is $7 a day profit, which is not bad at all considering the current climate, considering the current market and where we're at right now. Okay, so pretty good stuff there. And again, it's just that extreme efficiency, right? So when we compare it to, for example, to its direct competitor, which would be the X16Q, which even in looks, it's very similar. Again, they have that same generic black box looking thing. Again, I wish they would like do something with the design, like do something like with the big eye where they have like that gold version. Do something with it, right, to make it stand out a little bit, or at least to differentiate it a little bit more from the Jasminer. But let's look at the specs. So again, the Jasminer, is a quick refresher, it's 1950 mega hash, so right under 2 gigahash at 620 watts. So when we compare efficiency wise, this guy is coming in at 0.31 joules to mega hash in comparison with the Bombax Miner, which is about double. Okay, it's 0.18 joules a mega hash. So pretty significant difference, right? It's nearly doubling. Not exactly, but nearly doubling it. Okay, so pretty impressive stuff. I think where it's even more impressive is when we compare it to, for example, the Bitmain unit, right? We compare it to like the E9 Pro, because they're pretty similar in power as far as hash rate goes, but in electric, that's where it gets crazy. Okay, so this guy is 3200 mega hash, the E9 Pro is 3680, the E9 Pro is 2200 watts. 2200 watts versus 570 watts. Massive difference, especially during these times where it is crappier. Okay, so extreme difference in efficiency. And even comparing with the Jasminer, which was had a pretty good significant lead, it is almost double that. Where it gets tricky now, though, is the reason that Jasminer decided to debut their X44 series, right? And it's in direct reason is because of this Bombax Miner, right? So if we compare it to the comparable model, it's going to be the 44Q, and this guy is an even bigger beast, right? So this guy is almost doubling that of this Bombax Miner. Okay, so from 0.18 down to 0.1. Okay, and from 3200 mega hash to 7800 for 780 watts. Ridiculous. The difference, though, we have no idea what's going on here. We don't know the price points. We don't know the release window. Is it going to be sometime this summer? Is it going to be closer to end of year? Is it going to be delayed until 2025? Who knows, right? So this is this thread, but keep in mind, it really is going to be a big factor of when this thing releases. Okay, because if this thing's not going to release until like Q3, Q4, not only is it a long time to wait, also factor in how much that thing is going to be by then. Okay, we know Jasminer makes solid equipment, but again, it's just they haven't been able to deliver on time, right? There was a lot of delays with the 16Q, and they're a big stickler on price. Like, they do not deviate a ton. Okay, so I don't expect this guy to come in very cheap or very, I don't know. We gotta wait and see. Can only make assumptions, but if we go by their track record, it's probably gonna be pretty high up there, right? So that would be one thing to wait for. Maybe kind of just see any release windows for this. But again, they kind of just debuted this. They gave us this little graphics and didn't give us anything else, right? And they, again, most likely specifically did it just because of the release of the Bombax Miner. Okay, so just keep that in consideration. And then again, when we can compare price, so we compare, look at the X16Q in comparison to the Bombax. Bombax Miner is definitely a better deal, right? So these guys have been hovering in that same range. They've been between 3,000 and 3,300, depending if you're ordering spot or pre-order for the coming months. So that guy's there was kind of squirrely for a little bit. Was with Bitmain with the E9 Pro thing was like between 4 to 5K for quite a bit. Now though, they did release another batch, and this is why the prices have dropped. But again, they're pre-orders and currently listed on their sites now until freaking August. Okay, so they did lower it down to about 2,700 bucks. So that's why, if you haven't seen it yet, the prices are starting to downtrend a little bit. But again, if this thing's not released until August, that's quite a ways away. But if you're interested in getting either like a Jasminer or this Bombax thing, this is kind of bullish, because this would be something where Bitmain's probably going to release something, but the fact that they're releasing this batch all the way till August kind of signals that probably between now and then, most likely nothing will be announced. Maybe something beyond that, who knows, or maybe they do give us something, because at this point, this thing is extremely outdated, right? So again, the Bombax Miner is nearly 4 times the efficiency of this thing. Okay, and where the E9 Pro did have them beat was that price, right? If you guys remember, their original MSRP on this thing was only like 1,300 bucks. Okay, but when this thing was ranging at like 4 or 5K, not so great. When it was in that like $1,800 to $2,200 range all of last year, not all of last year, but for quite a few months last year, it's pretty good bang for the buck. But currently, in this current climate, not the greatest deal, right? Especially during these trying times. It's a massive difference between trying to have to foot a 2,200 watt bill versus 570 watts, right? 570 watts in comparison is nothing, okay? Especially when right now yield and profitability is kind of sus, right? So just some stuff to think about. But overall, pretty impressive unit. Just some things to consider though. Again, we don't really know much about them. They are a new manufacturer. We don't know what any warranty is going to be like. We don't know what reliability is going to be like. We don't know any of those things yet, right? We have to kind of wait to see once people start getting them in hand. And in reality, it's a tough thing to say, because, okay, let's say somebody gets it, plug it in, it works. All right, cool. Longevity-wise, we don't really know, right? So that's kind of the unknowns with going with these things. But at least in this case, it is priced somewhat aggressively, right? If they were to hit under 4K, like that 3,500 range, it would definitely be even more enticing, because again, for you to consider that jump, it's gotta be enticing in that range, right? Otherwise, you're gonna go with a more proven model like the Jasminer. Like, you're not getting as much bang for the buck, but again, those things so far have held up fairly well. They've been around a few years, they have that reputation, and that's why they can demand those price premiums, right? Even with like Bitmain and such. But again, if it's out of the two, like, we'll see what happens. One other big thing to take is to see what Jasminer does because of this. Will they lower the prices on those X16Qs? If they were, that would definitely make those more enticing, because they were at a point where they were in the $2,500 range, starting to go down in the $2,000 range. That would definitely make it more appealing. But again, competition is always definitely welcome, especially in this category, right? These are definitely, I know people always talk about, you know, the best at-home ASICs, and they mention little gold shells. These, to me, are definitely more supreme, and they definitely prove their worth during this bear market. Not even just with these, but even just like the little iPolos and such. Especially a lot of you guys who had those things and been on Octa since the beginning, as early as you could, been doing pretty freaking well, right? So just some stuff to think about. We'll see if maybe iPolo does something, because they have been straight trash. All they've been doing is like reboxing the little box miners, right? That's essentially what the little hydro unit, which was interesting, but again, it's efficiency wise and like anything new, nothing. And then this was such a big flop, the X1, like it was such a weird concept. But who knows, maybe they release something, maybe Bitmain does release something, maybe that's why they're doing futures on this and they decide to announce something. They are doing a kind of a surprise WDMS next month. Will they announce anything? Probably not. Again, if they have futures until August, Probably not. My guess is it's probably going to be like a more formal debut of the S21 Pro and then the L9, right? So definitely going to keep my eyes peeled though in case anything else does get announced, because that would be a good time, even if it's just like pre-order stuff for the fall. Who knows? But we'll see what Bitmain has cooking. I'm assuming they're going to have something either this year, next year. But in reality, who knows? And the thing is, you also have to focus that we're kind of running out of time for that speculation, right? If it was like this time last year, oh yeah, we definitely got quite a ways to go for the bull market. But at this point, we are beyond the halving. It had pretty much at any given month in these next like 5 to 6 months can be the big increase where we just start mooning essentially, right? And it's not like we just go straight up, right? There's ups and downs, but at that point, the market's already kind of know, and the prices are going to be in that range also, right? So currently, these things are still affordable. They are still doable, but again, in 5, 6 months, probably not going to be the case, right? So although the Jasminer does look extremely beyond impressive, right? Especially those X44s, we're going to have to wait to see what kind of info we get. Like, when is it going to release? Is it going to be Q3, Q4 thing? Are they going to be able to do pre-orders so you can kind of lock in the current price, even if it does come out that far? But then again, who knows? Because I know a lot of you guys got stuck with X16Q pre-ordering and then waiting month after month. So we're just going to have to wait and see, right? But currently, this Bombax, this EZ100-C, definitely appealing. Not at this price, but at the price that these other stores have it at. Not too bad of a deal, right? We're going to have to wait to see as people get these things in hand. We can kind of take a better look, see what it looks like. But typically, we'll see. I mean, it's really hard to say. But typically, these things that are lower wattage, especially if they run cool, less prone to issues. But we're going to have to just wait and see until people get these things. And to see if it's worth taking that risk, going on this guy, getting better bang for the buck, better efficiency, or just going with a more proven Jasminer, right? Because again, like I mentioned earlier, especially during these freaking times is when these things look massively, massively appealing, okay? So let me know in the comments, guys, what do you guys think of this thing? Are you guys interested? Again, the only one I'd be interested is this guy, that bigger guy. That freaking price point is kind of out of control. Is it not too bad? It's not too bad for what it is, but again, especially the fact that Jasminer did the good old cock block. They kind of screwed them over in that sense a little bit. But that price point is just ridiculous also, though, right? So this other guy that is a scaled down version is definitely much more appealing. We're going to have to wait and see, but we'll see where the price goes. We'll see the price action goes. Maybe it does dip down a little bit because, again, we have seen that the EZ100 go down pretty significantly. Again, it was 25K when it was first announced, and now it's closer into like the 15 to 17K range, right? So maybe this guy does hit that under $4,000. I think that would have been an excellent price point, or like as getting it as close to the X16Q would have been extremely, extremely appealing. I think the closer they get down there, it'll be more appealing, especially if Jasminer doesn't budge and keeps their X16Qs in the same price, which they likely will, right? But hopefully maybe now that they have some competition, they can lower there, because then at that point that does make that guy more appealing also, because yes, when you look at the efficiency numbers, the percentage is massive, but realistically the difference for a couple hundred watts, it's not crazy, right? The difference between here and like the E9 Pro is, but the other guys, not crazy, right? But I'm gonna have to wait and see. Definitely interested though. Let me know if any of you guys are interested. If any of you guys get one, please keep us updated. Let us know how you like it, how it's doing. Let us know, guys. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And I am out.